Mining Weekly Online is talking to Neil Froneman, the CEO of Sibanye Gold. Neil, can you talk to us about some of your care culture that you're introducing into Sibanye and into South African mining? Can we start with the possibility of some new shift arrangement to make the migrant labor a little bit more palatable?
In terms of the shift system, there's been an initiative by the Chamber of Mines called the Sindise Initiative, which is about looking at how mines in the rest of the world operate. They operate 24/7. They have different systems, and the unions have been to them. They've been exposed to it, and it's not an uncommon practice. You know, we in South Africa have this belief that is not the way to work. We work 270 days a year. There's 365. And we don't sweat our assets. That's a huge productivity issue that some of my colleagues in the industry have raised. Now, on top of that, we've got migrant labor issues. Now, migrant labor in its own right is not a bad thing, as long as you address the social issues associated with it. And the social issues are getting people back to their families where they are migrant in reasonable periods. And again, in the rest of the world, you've got remote mining camps and people fly in and fly out. Unfortunately, we got large labor resources, so we can't quite fly people in and out, but we can certainly get people home more than once a year. And our view is that with a new working shift arrangement, we can accomplish sweating our assets a little bit more, maybe working 320 days a year instead of 270. That means you're going to need more people. It means we're going to employ more people. Means we're going to actually have a positive contribution to employment, and if we get the working shifts arranged in a proper manner, we could get people going home once a quarter. So it's a win-win for labor, it's a win-win for the mines. It is a complex system, and we are currently in negotiations with the unions.
And is that 11-week fortnight then an impediment at all?
Absolutely. I think that we have to almost discard historical relationships, systems. They just are archaic, and we've got to change the complete nature of mining, and this is one example.
And some people have been saying, look, we must fly home. No, that we cannot do because the numbers are just too huge. Others have been saying, no, let's have rapid trains, and that will also take a long time. And others say, look, the taxis are there, let them go. What is you once spoke about busing.
Certainly taxis are a solution, but I think we can do more than taxis. If we manage this properly, sequence it, we should be thinking of using buses in a controlled, safe environment to move people around the country. It's going to be a commitment from the company, is going to come at a cost, but as Sibanye, we are very willing and able to contribute to additional costs where it is going to have a meaningful improvement on the lives of our employees.
And then the gain share, people down there working in those tough conditions, can they share in some of the profits?
Absolutely, and they have to share in some of the profits, and it's not new, but gain share has been tried, I suppose, in employee option schemes. The problem is they're too long dated, and employees don't see a direct link between their inputs and the outputs. We have to find a way that there's a more direct link between their inputs and the outputs and profits. So we are actively looking at, let's call it a profit share scheme, which is going to be material. And of course, it's going to have to be offset against things like these rampant wage increases. The aim of a gain share is to first of all share the fortunes of the company. Of course, it can work in reverse as well. When the gold price goes down, everybody needs to tighten their belt. So it's not just a positive, but it's also very important at this stage to get alignment between employers and employees. That is sadly lacking, and it results in the sort of industrial relations that you see at the moment.
And also I see there's a Sibanye Academy. I also hear safe technology. Are you going to train people up into a new regime, a new formula, a new way of doing things?
We aspire to that in the longer term. I think if we're thinking of a quantum leap in the way we do things, the answer is no. If you think of robots roaming around underground or even drones flying around like bats, that we're not there yet. It would be nice to get there in 20, 30 years' time maybe. But certainly we want to make what you described, quite rightly so, as a very difficult environment to work in, a harsh environment, one that requires a lot of manual labor. We want to make it much easier for workers to drill and blast. Our venture into technology with the appointment of Peter Turner is not about reducing the number of employees. Certainly we want to up productivity, we want to make it safer, we want to use more mechanization, but it's not a knee-jerk reaction to getting rid of employees so we have less union issues.
And is there anything that comes to mind that you can use to make the drilling and the blasting more productive?
Absolutely. We have, even though Peter's appointment into this field is new, we have continued to fund certain research. We do have drill jigs and drill rigs that can operate in a low stoping width environment. And Peter's job will be to roll some of that technology out. I think our view is not to create new technology, but to take existing technology, which is really a high level of engineering, and introduce it into our environment. Peter, being a mechanical and a mining engineer, has a superb set of skills that, coupled with his operational experience, will very quickly get us to things that do work and won't work. We've also done a survey to understand what does our workforce look like. We had this distorted view that because these are mature mines, that the average age of our worker was probably well in excess of 50. We were surprised to find out that the bulk of our employees are between 30 and 40. That is a generation that uses smartphones, has iPads, and we need to make our underground environment smart in the same way, incorporating some of that technology into a drilling machine using hydropower, which is quite environmentally friendly. All those type of things are really where we're going to focus.